Sunday. Right now, Jaguars and Bears, not a very pretty first half, as you can expect in a London game oftentimes. Right now, I'm sweating out the under. I have the under 45. I have Christian Kirk under 4.5 receptions, Trevor Lawrence under 21.5 completions. All of those look good right now. And then Caleb Williams, I don't know why they're not letting him throw the ball, but I have him over 33.5 pass attempts right now. He's at 15 at halftime. So still in play. But let's move forward because those are things that are in action right now and talk about all the games today. Feel free to jump in the chat, throw out any bets or props that you like. We'll mix in and talk about props that you can do on Prize Picks. Always use the code 5. Get yourself $50 when you place a $5 lineup from 5 Reasons Sports on Prize Picks. And, we'll talk sides and totals also that you can play in other places. So starting at 1 o'clock, I have the board up here so you can see just the different games. Commanders and Ravens, probably in a lot of ways the best game of the day. One of the most exciting games of the day. The Commanders, obviously a team that people didn't expect to be as good as they are. Their offense is great. Their defense is terrible. But stepping up in class, an opponent going to Baltimore, playing potentially the best team in the league. Arguably that could be the case. 6.5 is the spread, obviously right there around that key number. I know a lot of people are going to probably use that in a teaser, tease the Baltimore Ravens down to -0.5, basically for them to win the game. I'm not going. The teases have been terrible to me this year. I'm not going to tease that, but I would lean Ravens. I just think the Baltimore offense is going to have their way with that defense. But the Commanders continue to just surprise people. So I would not necessarily fade them, but I would look in opportunities there. If I had to lean, I would go with the Baltimore Ravens. I do have the under in this game. I have it under 52.5, and I have it under 51.5. I know that has been moving. Let me see where it is live. Currently, it's at 51.5, right around a key number, but be smart about that. I think, again, you got two good offenses. You have a terrible Washington defense, but the pace of this game, and especially in the second half, if Baltimore is up, Baltimore really kind of puts it in the cruise control. And in the second half, there is a trend of them getting up early and then basically not scoring in the second half and running a lot of clock with the way that they can run the ball with Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. So just something to keep in mind if you're betting that live or looking at second half props. I do have two props in that game. I have Zach Ertz over 27.5 receiving yards, and I have Lamar Jackson under 29.5 pass attempts. So those are two for that first game. Texans and Patriots, not quite the same level of matchup. It is a first start for the rookie Drake May. It is, again, a 6.5 point spread. This is another one of those games where if you wanted to tease, you could tease the Texans down. They're going to New England, but New England is not a very good team, and basically we just need the Texans to win. I do have this in a parlay. I have the Patriots +7 and under 38, and I also have the Patriots spread at +7. Obviously, a key number at the 6.5 is important. Getting that to 7, maybe buying the point or seeing if it ticks up. Probably a public side in a lot of ways will be the Texans. So I think if you're looking at 6.5, I don't think that will finish there at game time. But there are a lot of trends when you make a quarterback change that in that immediate first week you have results. People try to fade that, but I think it's a sharp side to go with the Patriots +7. In a lot of ways, I think Drake May is going to be able to go out there and sling the ball around a lot better than Jacoby Brissett. I do have Drake May over 159.5 passing yards. I think that's something you could look to on Prize Picks is see what Drake May's passing is and maybe go Goblins on that and see, maybe potentially he's going to open up that Patriots offense. I don't think that they're suddenly going to become just flying all over the place and their offense is going to be great, but I think it's going to be improved. I also have the Texans team total under 22.5 points. I think this is going to be a low-scoring game. Patriots do have good defense, and especially if their offense can be rolling, I think that they'll try to kind of take the air out of the ball and play in a slow pace. Next game here in Philadelphia, Browns and Eagles. Browns are 8.5-point dogs. They're one of the worst teams in the NFL. Their offense is terrible. The Eagles are coming off a bye. They're getting healthy. They get Lane Johnson back. They get Devonta Smith back. They get A.J. Brown back. I think that the Eagles are going to roll today. I have the Eagles in the first half -4.5. I think that they get up early. I think that they have a little bit to prove here coming out of the bye and getting healthy. And I just don't think that the Browns offense is good enough to hang with the Philadelphia Eagles, who haven't started off great, but I think that they're going to be turning it around as they head out of their bye. Next game at 1 o'clock, Colts and Titans. The Colts are 3-point dogs. You can get 2.5 in some places with the Titans if you're looking for that. Obviously, a key number there. Colts and Titans, I do have a couple plays in that game. I have the under 43. Let's see if that's still available because it is at a 43 still there. So I have the under in that game. I think low scoring. You have two offenses that can be very clunky, and I just don't know necessarily if I feel like their defenses are going to allow these offenses to get moving. Calvin Ridley, I have him over 42.5 receiving yards. I do think that the Titans offense is a little bit underrated in a way. I know I just said I have the under, and I think that their offenses are clunky, but I think the Titans, if you look at who they've played, the defenses they've went up against has made their offenses look poor. Will Levis will give you a gift and throw the ball to the other team quite often, but they do have weapons on that offense, and I think that they can get things going. So maybe a team over the next couple of weeks to look at as their schedule opens up a little bit. But that's all I have on that one. Cardinals and Packers. I think that should be a nice little shootout. I do have a prop there. I have Michael Wilson anytime touchdown if that's available on Prize Picks, and I also have Marvin Harrison. I'm fading him tonight or today, I should say. Marvin Harrison under 4.5 receptions. I just don't think that they're going to allow him to go off. And the Packers, I think in this case, 5.5-point favorites. I know the Cardinals offense is good, but I just think the Cardinals are one of those teams that they're so hit or miss. They're peak and valleys. And if they're not on their peak, they're not a good team. And I think the Packers, now that they're getting healthy, are going to roll in this one. So 5.5 might be a good spread also, but I don't have anything on that side or total. Bucks and Saints have quite a bit here. I have the Saints plus 3.5. That's still available. It's interesting, with the quarterback change. Again, we talked about that with Drake May. I am going to see Major is in the chat. A prop for the Levis meme. Yeah, maybe sponsored by a mayonnaise production company or something. But we talked about this when we were doing our Setting the Edge show. Quarterback change. Spencer Rattler going in for Derek Carr. The Saints, tough loss. Competed, I would say, against the Chiefs, but just didn't have enough to get it done, especially once Carr got hurt. The Bucs, have looked good. I mean, surprisingly, I think Baker Mayfield always gives you a chance. He's a great quarterback. 3.5 is not a good number. Obviously, if you're looking to go for the Bucs, you want to get that 3 as a key number. As I said, I have the Saints plus 3.5. I do have a fade of Spencer Rattler in terms of passing yards. I'm under 187.5 passing yards for Spencer Rattler, who I do not think is a very good quarterback. I have Groupie, the kicker for the Saints. I have him over 1.5 field goals made. I have Cade Otton under 3.5 receptions for the Bucs. And then I have the team total for the Saints, again, kind of fading this quarterback change. I have the team total for the Saints under 19.5. I do think that this is going to be a low-scoring game. I think the Saints will compete, but I don't think that they're going to be able to just magically be better with this quarterback change to Spencer Rattler. Moving into the 4 o'clock games, the Steelers and the Raiders. Steelers-Raiders, not a game that I necessarily want to have on my TV. Let's see if I have anything here. I do have, Aiden O'Connell, starting quarterback for the Las Vegas Raiders this week. I have him under 2.5 rushing yards. I do have the Raiders in a tease. I think this is a game that's going to be low scoring. If you look at the total in this game, it is, as it pulls up for me, 36.5. So if you tease up to 9, which is not the conventional teaser, usually you want like when you're at a 2.5 or something to go through the 3 and the 7, but getting up to 9, you're basically a 2-possession game there. Low scoring game. The points are more valuable when you tease in a low scoring game. If this is a low scoring game and I'm getting 9 points with the Raiders, I think they can keep it close. I think the Steelers are the better team, but I think they keep this close. Aiden O'Connell under 2.5 rushing yards. I've been able to find a lot of success in fading these quarterback rushing yards in the last couple of weeks. So it's kind of one of those things you have to sweat out the entire game, though, especially if it's the winning quarterback, because you get those kneel downs and you lose some yardage there. Next one, Chargers and Broncos. I do have quite a bit on this one. The Broncos, I have them plus 3. I think the Broncos are kind of underrated in a way. They're going to be a team that I think maybe makes the playoffs. The Chargers are coming off the bye. They're going to run the ball. The Broncos defense has to step up and stop them. I do have under 37 in this game. I think both teams are going to play at a slow pace. Their offenses, while both are effective in what they do, I do think this is going to be a low-scoring, grinded-out game. in a division matchup in Denver. I have Justin Herbert under 31.5 longest completion, if that's available on PrizePicks. Herbert coming out of the bye. They really run the ball, and Herbert's banged up. So I don't think necessarily they're going to put him at risk there, throwing the ball all over the place. And I believe that's all I have on that game. Moving forward, Lions and Cowboys. This is a 3-point spread. This is a good matchup. I know on paper, looking ahead, you would have thought this was a better matchup. The Cowboys haven't really lived up to their hype, maybe. And I think the Lions are one of the best teams, one of the best coach teams in the NFL. I would lean here with the Lions. I have the Lions -3. I would make sure I'm on top of that with the key number there also. Lions -3. I have Turpin for the Cowboys. I have him under 29.5 receiving yards. I know he had a breakout game last week with some injuries. I think that the Lions defense is going to contain him. Look for David Montgomery anytime touchdown. I think that's a good prop. They give him the ball when they get close to the goal line. I think this Cowboys defense is terrible, and I think that they can take advantage of that. I also have some David Montgomery rushing props, over 56.5 rushing yards, over 69.5 rushing yards. So if you look for the Goblins on PrizePicks, you might have an opportunity there. I think I think David Montgomery is going to have a good game today against the Cowboys, and I think the Lions are going to be in good shape there. Falcons and Panthers, not quite a exciting game there. I think the Falcons are definitely the better team, but the Panthers have been competing a little bit better than they did at the beginning, but that's a low bar there. I do have a couple props in this game. Kirk Cousins, this is one of those rushing yards. Kirk Cousins under a half a rushing yard. Kirk Cousins under 1.5 rushing attempts. If you can find those available, Kirk Cousins is not a guy that runs around very often, but you're going to have to pay for those. There's a little bit juicy on those. So hopefully they don't have the ball at the end of the game, because he would be taking knees and those are rushing attempts. That's one of the risks of that prop when you do that with the quarterback. I do have Jonathan Mingo, receiver for the Panthers, over 2.5 receptions, something that you can look for in that if you want to go kind of unconventional, guy off the radar. Let's see here. Now we're in Sunday Night Football, only a couple games left. Bengals and Giants, game that I don't know. It's not a bad game. Bengals are trying to get right. Giants have upset a lot of people last weekend survivor pools, because they were not expected to win in Seattle, and they went out there and did it. League Neighbors is still out, so the Giants are missing a key piece there. Bengals are at 3.5, so you're right around that key number. I do have Bengals -3.5. I don't think that's a game that's going to tick up to 3 later in the day. I don't think Giants money is going to come in. I just don't see the narrative behind backing them. So 3.5 is probably about as good as it gets if you want to buy the point. Obviously, you can do that, but I'm on Bengals -3, and I just think the Bengals are going to have to get right tonight. We'll talk tomorrow about Bills and Jets. It's Monday Night Football. Right now it is, looks like the Bears scored again. So 21-3. See how the Bears scored before I turn this off. But check out these props. Myself, Major, all those guys. Caleb Williams threw it to Keenan Allen for a touchdown. So 21-3 right now over in London, middle of the third quarter. So check out all the props that we have going on. We'll have different streams going on over the weekend, and we'll be back throughout the week. We have Heater playing tonight against the Pelicans. We'll be a post-game show with that, and lots of stuff going on 5 Reasons Sports YouTube. Thank you guys. Use the code 5 on PrizePicks.